Well, actually, this is as real as it gets.
This is Nash Gruner, the son of Olivia Gruner, and you are listening to the UCW Radio Show. In your face.
The number you have reached, 911, has been changed to a non-published number.
You're listening to UCW Radio.
In your face.
Give it to me, baby.
All right, welcome to the UCW Radio Show, and as you guys know, we've been doing this for a long time. We bring on some great guests, sharing their inspirational stories, talking about what they have going on, and today's no different. As you see behind me, we have the man himself, Trans Am Diaries author, Stevie D. We're going to bring him on the show. Brother, how are you doing?
I'm good, my man. How are you? How you doing on the east side?
Doing good, hanging and banging. You know what we do.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. So, tell us what's going on, man. I mean, the last time I brought you on was a while back. You were going through a lot of tough things at that time, but you beat it, man.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, a little blip in the road, known as cancer, the C word.
Yeah.
I think it was still working on the book at the time, or I'm not sure if it was released, but. The Trans Am Diaries came out, 6-7 years ago, something like that. And it was my story that documented, I'd been a comedian. I moved out here, I'm from Kentucky and did comedy for 20 years and always been into fitness, thought I was super healthy, ate organically, worked out. And then,
you did your modeling thing too. You were like doing your little thing.
Yeah, I did the gays and the modeling stuff. My son's right here. Let me cover his ears.
Yeah, cover his ears.
No, I did some fitness modeling stuff, and you don't know. You can't predict what's gonna happen to you.
Yeah.
Even when we think we're very healthy, but I had prostate cancer at 42, and the average age was like 74 or something crazy. So I said, in my sick, twisted comedy hillbilly mind, I'm like, I got cancer. Cool. I get to write a book now. I got an excuse to write a book.
Always glass half full, right?
Yeah, brother. So I'm like, it's not over, man. This is not over. I got a wild story to tell. So I was very fortunate. I wrote the book, and it did very well. It was on, Times Square, the Jumbotron out there where you are, and Michael Milken's Foundation found out about it. They brought me on as like a spokesperson for the Prostate Cancer Foundation, and ended up doing a lot of press for them. And the book went, I think, number 6 on comedy memoirs on Amazon.
Nice.
So I was very, very fortunate, and I hope it inspired a few people, pulled the curtain back, and it made it not so much a stigma to talk about, especially prostate cancer.
Yeah.
And then since then, things are going well. Busy with comedy, stand-up comedy again. Wrote another book, which was supposed to be out
Mm-hmm.
end of summer, but all this stuff happened, and
2020 happened.
Great madness. So
you couldn't even write a comedy skit about this.
Dude, the bad thing is I turned it in about a month before the pandemic, because I write. It's a memoir. It's stream of consciousness, and the next one's all funny stories, no cancer, just funny stuff, and I think laughter is the best medicine. So I turned it in before the pandemic. So I used to be getting up at 4:45 and writing before I started my day. I'm like, I've had 8 months. I could have written another 2 books right now, but I kind of already turned it in. And I like my books to be kind of evergreen. You could read them at any point. And so the new one that's coming out is kind of evergreen. So every story is an entity within itself. So I thought, should I go back and submit some quarantine stories? And I'm like, no, I kind of want that to be its own entity within itself. And then maybe I'll write some other stuff or add it into my stand-up about the quarantine.
Well, if you write something about the helmet behind you, that'll be a sad story,
No, it's a good story, dude. He's bagging on your Seahawks again. My son's gonna start swinging here in a minute.
That's okay. That's all right, but no, man, you've been through some stuff. You could have easily have went down a different road and said, woe is me, you were like, no, okay, got this, got to beat it, get through it. Let's go on. Let's keep moving forward. And look, you wrote another book. You're doing your comedy shows, which I was so happy you were in that mode again. That made me proud. You got your show going on. You're doing your weekly show. Let's talk about that stuff, man, because that excites me. Because now you're back in motion. You are the Stevie D that we know.
The legend in his own mind.
The legend in his own mind. Yeah.
No, with me, I always got to stay busy, and I always got to stay creative, and so it's never woe is me. I was always optimistic, glasses half full. I say ignorance is bliss. Let them think. Dolly Parton said, make them think you're dumb, but you're really playing them. You're not really dumb. It's just part of I'm happy-go-lucky. I'm a happy dude. I don't dwell on politics. Mm-hmm. And on my show, so during the quarantine, as you know, I started a show called Come On, Get Happy Hour.
Yeah.
So I like people to be happy.
We almost had your little comic book guy, your little cartoon on here, but I figured what we had was going to be better. We have to get this up again. This was a lot better.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. So yeah, I like to keep a positive vibe going, and so I have a lot of comedian friends on the show. Have actors, have rock stars, have hot rod people, wrestlers, but we don't go into politics. I like to be an escape from the news.
Yeah. That's good. That's a good way to do it, because you're giving people a way to kind of get away from all the nonsense, because we're living in a world of nonsense. So I'm glad that you're doing that. People need it, and how many shows do you have in so far?
I don't know. We started this maybe a month into the quarantine. My buddy Mike Marino from Jersey there, New Jersey's bad boy. He comes out about once a month. We produce a big comedy show here. Does very well. And I said, man, let's do like a comedy, Zoom thing. Everybody's doing this Zoom. And I'd never done Zoom before the quarantine. But so we decided, I'm like, instead of doing, I saw a couple of Zoom shows and it seemed kind of hokey. I like the organic comedy. I like the energy of a live audience.
Well, hokey and Zoom kind of go hand in hand, but that's my opinion.
Yeah. So I didn't want to be standing in front of like a paper, brick backboard and go, hey, what's going on with this crazy quarantine thing? This is nutty. So I'm like, let me just talk to people. Let's have an organic conversation. Yeah. So I started my show maybe 4 or 5 months ago, and it, worked out the kinks. I heard somebody say, if you didn't learn a new skill during the quarantine, it wasn't for lack of time. You didn't have that excuse. It was for lack of hustle.
That's true.
So, so I said, let me learn how to do this Zoom stuff. And I look at it like it was a silver lining. Like now I can do stuff like this. This is my son's, it used to be an editor's room before we got this house, actually. So it's well equipped for something like this. I've ordered a lot of equipment, actually have green screens and all that stuff. But right now, we're just turning on the camera and
keeping it real.
It's amazing we can do this,
Yeah. The thing is that, and you mentioned Zoom, a lot of people are utilizing this, and it's a tool for what it can do. I just like the fact that people can communicate, connect, and come back together. And that's why, like Vero is here, because it's part of that, and with business, everything else, and just the cool things that you can do now that if this happened 5 years ago, we'd be screwed. We wouldn't be doing this. We'd be doing phone shows like we did back then.
Yeah. Holding our phones, walking out in the yard.
Yeah.
This is amazing that we can do this. We have studios, and I like it from being an entertainer and from doing comedy for so many years. You're at the mercy of the networks.
Yeah.
And now people like Joe Rogan have proven, as you know, the deal he just did, a $200 million deal. And he lives 2 miles from me, but he packed up the whole production, the whole camp, moved to Austin. And he's like, I can do it from my house. I don't need, he was an actor before. And he says now he's not even interested. You can create your own content. You can be organic.
That's the key. And, he hit the button on the nose, especially in this environment we're in. You have Hollywood. You have a lot of people, a lot of filmmakers and stuff. And I've had this conversation with a number of guests. they were at the mercy of the suit. So I was talking to someone that's high up on the food chain, and he was even telling me that you have two ends. You have the producers, the creators, and you got the suits, and then you got in between where they never come together, and this end controls everything. So now digital is flipping the script. Now you control your content. You control your content. You just gotta, like with the stuff you do, you gotta get rid of that Zoom logo, man. Forget about that thing. Forget about that thing.
I mean, I'm not married to Zoom. I like whatever's going to get the word out there and spread the good word and spread the vibes and get eyeballs in front of the content.
Right.
I used to do so many showcases for networks. I'd be at the Laugh Factory and you'd do your 5 or 7 minutes. It was a network, showcase, industry night. Mm-hmm. So you had to you're at the mercy of them. Yeah. What your content was, what you could say, what you're going to wear. I was told to wear a suit before. I'm like, I drive a 78 Trans Am and I have half of a mullet here. I have a fullet. I'm like, you really think I have a suit? I've got some overalls I can put a tie on, but I'm from Kentucky. I'm not down with wearing a suit. But now I can do my own thing, do it from the double wide trailer here, whatever. Yeah. And you're not at the mercy of the networks. And the networks now are nervous because they're looking at streaming content.
Yeah, they should be.
They're coming to us now.
Yeah, I mean, even on Vero, we're getting, we're going to have a different part of it that you can stream. You can actually do live shows, stream them, and other content can be added onto it. And we have people that are interested in having their stuff on there, which is pretty cool because it's a different avenue. These are tools. These are tools for people to use. Where the networks, like if you were to do years ago your comedy show, as you said, you're at the mercy of them. You have to do what they say. They got the producers, everything else. In this environment, you're the producer. No one can tell you don't do this. When you have your comedy show, who's in charge? You're in charge. Everybody, and you make it a good time, and it turns out to be an awesome production. This is what you do with your shows, your live shows.
I believe I put in my 10,000 hours. Which they say put in your 10,000 hours, and then you should know what you're doing. Trust your instincts at that point. Right. When I did Rockstars of Comedy, which I produced right there, which had Whitney Cummings, Brian Callen, Steve Byrne, all these people that had blown up. Yeah. I knew I had a vision. I knew what I wanted. And so I made a rule when we filmed that concert. I said, and they were all these people represented with the big agents, the biggest agents in Hollywood. I said, I don't care who's representing you, who your manager, who your agent is. They're not going to be in this room. Mm-hmm. I rented a small theater on the side, and we had monitors. And I said, your agents can go over there and watch the filming. But I don't want to look out in the audience and see any suits. Mm-hmm. I want people that love comedy, that are really genuinely loving them in the moment and not looking at their phones. And they're like,
it's like you want to go over there and slap somebody.
Yeah, I wanted to look out, and I want it to be a party. I want it to feel like a rock concert. And that's always been my feeling. Like, I've pitched shows before, as you know, I've pitched tons of shows where people are like, I don't see it. And now I'm like, the same shows I've pitched 6 months later, I've seen similar shows on the air where they didn't want to lose their job. They didn't want to take a chance. Right. And I'm like, no, trust me, this is going to work. I just got a deal for a show that I pitched 8 years ago that they are like, okay, but there wasn't anything exactly like it on the air. And now there's been a few similar things. We have a different angle, and we have the connections for the content, like we're talking about. Mm-hmm. So each episode will have a big celebrity on it because we have those connections to get to them ourselves.
Right.
We don't need for the network, for the management company, anybody. We can speed dial these people.
Right. It's in your control. These are your people.
In our control. Right. Yeah, exactly. And we did a pilot on our own terms, and they saw, we get it now. You have access to these people. And they said, are you afraid of anybody stealing this idea? I'm like, no, because they don't have the Rolodex. There's no Rolodexing, but I'm saying they can't pick up the phone and call the drummer of the Foo Fighters or whoever,
It's who you know.
And rock stars going to have on the show.
Yeah, yeah. And then even with your comedy show, it's who you know. Because the people you bring together, if somebody was to try to mimic that, it'd be very difficult because they can't get these people. But you can. Because you're Stevie D. You do what you want to do. Like
they owe me. I can blackmail them.
Yeah, I know. You got information from back in the day.
When I had taken a break from comedy and I was pitching shows, writing books, and I just kind of got the itch. My kids were getting a little older, and I'm like, I think I could sneak out and tell some jokes now.
Right.
So the very first night, I went to a club here, and I was on good terms with the owner. And I walked in and I said, hey, Jack, this is at the Ha Ha in North Hollywood. And I said, thinking about coming back, and can I have my own show here on Friday night, blah, blah, blah. He's like, buddy, anything you want. You got it, blah, blah, blah. I'll send this. It was about 6 o'clock. And they usually, some of these clubs would do like an open mic before the actual comedy night starts. And so people come in and they pay $10 or whatever it is, and they get 3 minutes on stage. But the crowd's not really there yet. It's the work, they're trying to work their way up the ranks.
Right.
And so I was standing there talking to the owner, and a drunk guy, like a homeless guy, comes off the street. And he obviously knew who the owner was. And he goes, I'm going to go on an open mic. I want to tell some jokes. And I'm funny. And he looked at me, and I'm standing right next to the owner. He just kind of interrupted us. And he looked at that guy, and he did a double take and said, and that guy's good looking right there. I go, hey, I still got it.
You're like, yeah, we're going to bring you on stage. Bring you on the mic there. You're good.
He actually said something else that I can't repeat right now because my kids are close by. Hold on 1 second, brother. I think I lost the audio.
I hear you.
All right. I pulled out the thing, but he said something. But people say, Stevie, because you had cancer, do you want to make people laugh because laughter heals? And I go, no, that's not the reason. Oh, my kids are getting older. They're starting to ignore me, and I need a lot of attention.
Nice.
They get mad when I say that.
And your son's rolling his eyes. Where is he? Let's bring him on the show real quick.
My beautiful daughter just walked in.
Oh, your daughter walked? Oh, tell her to knock over that helmet as on her way over.
He said knock over because this is Faith.
How you doing? She can't.
Hold on. Let me tell you a little story about Faith.
Let me hear.
We've talked about this before, but like I said, I was always health conscious. I felt something was going on, so I actually went to the doctor.
Good thing she looks like your wife. Ooh, forget about it.
I know. He said, good thing you look like mommy and not daddy.
Yeah, good thing.
But so I went to my doctor and I said, I think something's going on. Can you check my prostate? And I didn't know about I didn't know about the PSA levels, the blood levels. I just said, check it. So he did, like the old fashioned way, didn't take me to dinner or anything afterwards, but he goes, no, you're
more like a Moon River moment, right?
Yeah. So, and that's the image you know in your mind when you get that check. The scene from
think about Chevy Chase, Moon River.
Yeah, you know what that. Use the whole fist, but earmuffs. Anyway, I'm glad she can't hear you.
Yeah, she's ignoring the crap out of you right now.
So anyway, he said, no, you're good to go. Just drinking more water. You're getting older. I said, all right. 2 years later, I was with a different insurance company. 2 years later, and I was having the same symptoms, but worse.
Right.
Going to the bathroom a lot in the middle of the night and all this. So I went and they did the blood check. They did the blood and came back and said, your PSA levels are very high. And I said, what's that? And they said, it's your prostate, blah, blah, blah. Turns out I did have cancer. Oh, and they said, you had it 2 years prior when you thought something was going on. And if you had waited another 2 years, it had been too late. So luckily they caught it in that 2 years later. But in that 2 year window, I tell people the silver lining was this little girl right here came along.
Yeah.
And her name is Faith. It just happens to be Faith because if they would have caught it the first time I went in, shop is closed.
Yeah.
And I would just have that dude right there under the desk.
I know.
So anyway,
you would have that Seahawks fan.
Yeah, you want to say hi to this girl? Ask her who her favorite team is.
So what'd your father want me to ask you? Who's your favorite team?
Yeah, NFL. It's the Eagles.
The Eagles? Oh, God. Oh, God. Don't you see what I have behind me here? The Steelers, the best team in the NFL. You can join the Steeler Nation. I'll give you I'll send you a T-shirt. Steelers. Come on. You can do it. You don't want to be a dirt. You don't want to be with the dirty birds. The dirty birds. You don't want to be with them. No. Well, we'll talk another time. You and I will talk. So, are you proud of your father?
For what?
For him being who he is. He's a great daddy, isn't he?
She's like,
Yeah.
pretty good. You'll keep me?
You gonna keep him?
We'll see.
I guess.
You get. Oh my God! Give me your father.
It's good talking to you, Lloyd.
Thank you, Faith. Thank you. I guess she's gonna keep you.
Tough audience, bro. The tough audience.
Yeah. I told you, proud of your daddy. He said, for what?
What did he do?
That's classic.
Did
Oh,
he vacuum today? What did he do exactly?
yeah. What did he do? Anything special? Did he write a book? Did he beat cancer? Did he do anything special?
Yeah.
But
You're in the head with this book.
yeah. Kids are a trip. Kids are a trip. So now, I mean, your show, you're bringing on a lot of different comedians onto your show and wrestlers and stuff like that.
I like to mix it up.
It's an eclectic type of show then.
I do. I like to mix it up. I like comedy. I like rock. I like cars. So like this past Monday, it aired last night, but we recorded Monday. I had an exclusive behind the scenes at West Coast Customs.
Oh, nice.
So, and they were doing a USO build for 24 hours live. They were building this badass truck.
Mm-hmm.
And you donate to the USO. The money went to the troops, and the highest bidder got this like $150,000 monster truck they built.
Wow.
But so the show at SEMA, which is the biggest aftermarket car show in the world, was supposed to be in Vegas this week, and it was canceled. And West Coast Customs has a big presence there. So SEMA brought their production trucks to West Coast Customs headquarters, which is a huge facility in Burbank,
right.
And they did a 24-hour build. So my buddies gave me exclusive behind the scenes. They showed me a lot of celebrities' cars. They showed me Paris Hilton and Shaq's cars and Biebs and Travis Scott. And I said, what celebrity have you built the most cars for? And they said, Shaq. And guess how many cars they built for Shaq?
I'm going to say 28.
They guesstimated between 70 and 80
Oh, wow.
cars.
Wow. And I was 28. I thought it was high. Wow.
Insane.
Shack attack. But
They might have Elvis beat.
Yeah, and the thing is, what people don't know about Shaq, even though he made his money, he made a lot of money in basketball, he's an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
He invested in Ring, he invested in a lot of different companies.
Hey.
Yeah, oh yeah, he was one. He invested. That's why he does the commercials. When you see him doing a commercial, is because he's an investor in the company. So yeah, it's money, but it's smart.
I See Hot or whatever he's.
Yeah,
Cruise lines.
he's not just doing the sponsorship; he's making money. He's it's his company, so he wants to promote it, which is smart. You have a lot of athletes should do that. I think a lot of entertainers should do that too. The money they make, reinvest it and build, so that when you have a dry spell, and it happens when you have an actor that kind of doesn't act anymore, they're going to need to do something as opposed to working at McDonald's and stuff like that. So,
well, you're an entrepreneur, and if you're not making money while you're sleeping, you're going to work till you die, right?
Yeah, and that's what it is. That's what it is. That's why you got to keep pushing while you can, and you got to do stuff while you're young enough to do it. You don't want to be 80 trying to push that. You don't want to be like Colonel Sanders, pushing stuff at 70, pushing KFC.
The old guy.
Yeah. So
the old guy at the club.
Yeah, with the chains and everything. So with your memoir, which your second book, your memoirs, when do they anticipate that coming out?
Well, hopefully very soon. We're doing a live book author night thing to kind of start promoting it. Mm-hmm. And because there's no book shows right now, the last time I saw you was at the Javits Center.
Yeah.
Signing books. So right now it's kind of a non-issue to put a book out unless you're a celebrity and it could go straight to the bestseller, New York Times, Amazon. Mm-hmm. But if you're like me, you need to go out and hustle and do some comedy and book signings and events. Mm-hmm. There's no book shows going on right now. There's no festivals.
Right.
So I hope it comes out by Christmas. I'm excited. It took about 3 years to write this one.
Right.
It's crazy stories of me and these kids and my life, and it's called The Chronicles of a Hollywood Hillbilly.
Ah, the second in the series. But the thing is, the good thing about what you write, you can transition, especially now with digital and everything else. You can actually make a series based on your book or your second book, your first book, both of them. Yeah. That would be interesting. So any the Hollywood types that are listening to this, you gotta call Stevie D and try to get him locked in with a deal for his creating a series based on his book.
I like it. Yeah. I'd like it to be like an animated. What's his name? Judd. What's his name that created Beavis and Butthead?
Oh, okay. I know.
What's his last name? He had Tales from the Tour Buses.
Oh, did he?
He would have rock stars' entourages, and he did an outlaw comedy version. He did a funk version with like Rick James entourage and Bootsy Collins and George Clinton. Then he did like Johnny Paycheck and Jerry Lee Lewis. But they would have actual people telling the story. Then it goes into animation.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And so they were talking about Jerry Lee Lewis, and his bass player. His bass player came up and said, "Hey, Jerry Lee, man, I need a raise." And Jerry Lee like, "Hell with you and shoot him."
Hell, you can do that. You can do that with a cartoon.
Yeah, you can do it in a cartoon.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Jerry Lee, do you want to? You can't fire him because you shot him. He might sue him." He goes, "Well, hell, he can't play bass now. I shot him. He can't play the bass anymore." So I could see my book being an animated series like that.
Actually, that's a good idea because you do something like that, you get more creative with what you have, and you bring that comedy aspect into it. Because you can do stuff in with cartoons that you can't do in real life.
Yeah, when you
in real life, you go to jail,
running from the cops with the Trans Am, and I jump over some railroad tracks. If it was an actual movie or series, you'd go through 7 or 8 Trans Ams crashing for that one scene, but. Yep. Animation, man, you can do anything.
Yeah, and you know what?
You jump and do this in the air through the T-tops, and
yeah. There you go. There you go.
Can you say hi to my son real quick?
Yeah, I want to bring him on. What's he doing? Laying on the floor?
This is Colin. This is Cool Mac D.
Cool Mac D.
Because he was
a Seattle Seahawks fan.
Yeah, there you go. Give him a hard time about that.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Tell him how great they are.
There you go. See, now we can talk about your Seahawks. Now, why are you a Seahawks fan? Let's start there.
The first football game I ever watched was when they're when they're in the Super Bowl, and I was cheering for them.
And you decided to become a diehard Seahawks fan?
Yeah.
And I can't even go and push you to even think about the Steelers or any other team?
No.
Stay loyal to your team. Stay loyal to your team. It's okay. I'm ragging you on the Seahawks, but they're not a bad team. They have a quarterback that's he's okay, right? he'll only be headed to the Hall of Fame when he retires. So, but you have a good team there. So now tell me about your father. Does he annoy you sometimes?
He's kind of weird.
He does, right? I know. He bothers you a lot. I know. I see he's bothering your sister now. How is it? You still going to school from home?
Yes.
And how's that working out for you?
I don't like it.
You don't like it? Are they going to let you go to school anytime soon?
They have no idea when, like anytime soon.
No, they don't know when they're going to let you in. You must miss your friends.
Yeah.
And then you got to be around your father all day. Right?
Mm-hmm.
See, he's a troublemaker. He's a troublemaker. Mm-hmm. But you know what? Just stay with your team, okay, and go. There. See, look at this. Look at he's doing here. Look at that. But stay with your team, and if you're doing the online classes, keep studying. Keep studying. And, soon enough, you'll be going back to school. You'll be around your friends. And then now you can go and take all that energy, all that stuff your father was annoying you about. Then you can go take it out on your friends, right? And that's what you do to your friends, right? And that's okay. All right. And too bad your mommy couldn't be here to come on the show because she's actually the talent. Your father's just the funny guy. Your mother's the talent. Remember that.
Yeah.
Remember that. All right. Let's get your father back on the show. And you stay with your team.
Okay.
All right. There we go.
All right, brother.
Yeah, I didn't want to rag him too much on that. I was supposed to shot, but the thing is, and it's good that he's loyal to his team. Okay,
They both are.
But that's your daughter too. She was like, you sure you don't want to be with the dirty birds? My Eagles. Okay, you know what? I can respect that. You're loyal to your team. You're not a flip flopper. That's okay.
They stick to their guns, brother.
Yeah.
And especially like we've had a lot of success with our teams in LA this year.
Yeah.
He was a big Kobe fan, and actually, his school is right across the street from where Kobe crashed.
Oh,
so
wow.
That was heartbreaking.
Yeah, that was a tough one. That was a tough pill to swallow because, gone too soon. And Kobe too was a businessman, an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
He invested in a lot of different companies, and he created a fund. So he had a venture capital fund, and he was investing. Him and his partners were investing in a lot of different companies. And I think Shaq may have been a part of it too. I'm not sure, but they were giving opportunity to companies that had promise, and they were getting involved with them and building them up. So, so
that's great.
That's a sad thing. So now, getting back to you. So when is your next comedy show?
The next live show, I don't know, because I'm not doing the road right now. So I'm sticking around here. But I have friends that are going out. They're having a lot of problems. I just had Brett Ernst on my show a couple of weeks ago, and he's on Cobra Kai. He was in Rockstars of Comedy. He was somewhere, I think he was in Arizona at an improv. Mm-hmm. And they're doing the shows outside. And even though they were outdoors, everyone's socially distant, the cops still came and shut down the show. They'd flown him to be there. And because the rules are changing weekly. I've got friends here that are doing shows locally that you can only have exactly 80 people. And that's if everyone's socially distant. Keeping your mask on until you hit the stage. Mm-hmm. So they can't even post a picture from the green room if the comics are hanging out back. You got to be very, very careful.
So your marketing capabilities are limited, and then if you're paying to fly people in and stuff, it becomes. How do you turn the profit on it? How do you make it worth it?
So comics, especially headliners, or they make a certain amount of money plus a piece of the door, whatever their deal is. Mm-hmm. But now when the door's very limited, so they're what they're being paid, their fee has come way down. And for me, I'd rather just stick around with the family. I got lucky pitching a show during this time because there's really not, industry is shut down.
Yeah.
It's closed up. I was right behind CAA today, and it's a ghost town. No one's there, literally. Mm-hmm. So I just got lucky. Someone heard word of mouth and contacted me. I went in, pitched a show in person, and so we're about to shoot something for that.
Good.
So I'm doing that, just having fun with being around the kids.
Shows way back when, and they were like telling you, "Hey, kid, thanks for bringing it, but hey, it's not going to work." That type of thing, and it kills me because I know. And I remember you had something because you told me the whole story about it, and they blew you off where it could have been something great. But you're dealing with the executives that wear the suits, and they're not out there hustling. They're not the creative types. They're the ones that make the decisions. They're the Weinsteins of the world, right?
Yeah.
And digital is changing all that. So all these guys, with their 7-figure salaries, are probably shaking in their chairs because something. Guys like you with talent are able to go and create stuff and make real deals that make sense.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And I got tired of guys like Weinstein showing up to pitch, and they'd come out in the bathrobe and ask for a massage.
I know, and he was trying to get you. Good thing that
especially when I would do it and still didn't get the sell the show.
Oh man, your kid's gonna have nightmares now.
They left the room. That's why I'm getting a little raunchy.
Good.
Let's really get down now.
Yeah. So so tell me, you got your shows. The other show is the live shows are not happening. Where can people see your interviews? The show that you're doing on the other platform. We'll call it the other network. This is
Well,
like
I'm not just doing.
NBC right now. We're on the good network.
Well, the good thing is that network we're talking about, I'm kind of just using them because I'm not even broadcasting it from there. It's only to pre-record, just so it's like a conference room, and that's where we record the show. Then we release it on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Come on, get happy hour. So it's C then hyphen MON. Come on, get happy.
Oh, cool.
And I always joked about my hair is kind of like a feathered Keith Partridge hair. I had the same haircut. So that's what made me think of Come On, Get Happy Hour. It's also on Stevie D and his so-called friends page on Facebook.
Okay.
Now, what I've been finding on Facebook lately, I think I probably already red flagged anyway or whatever, but they really stifle who can see my show there.
Yeah. And
the last two shows, I even throw them a couple bucks, go boost it, because if I don't, they don't let anybody see it.
Oh.
Not, 3 people literally. So the last 2 weeks, for whatever reason, is it got rejected. So it says does not meet our standards and policies. I'm like, hey, I don't joke around about the COVID. I don't joke around about politics, like I said. So for whatever reason, posts passed or whatever algorithms they have set up, we're trying. So my editor today, she's changing the thumbnail. She's changing. On my show, I do a drinking word. So if I'm doing West Coast Customs and I say the drinking word tonight is badass. So if we say Shaq's car is badass, Bieber's car is bad. If you hear badass, you take a little. It's just all fun and games.
Right.
So we're like, okay. So I looked at the audience today, and you would know about how you break down what audience is going to see this, who you're targeting. So today I noticed it said 18 to 65. I'm like, well, maybe because we do a drinking word and it says the target audience is 18, maybe you can't have a drinking game. But I don't know. So we're just trying to work out the kinks, work our way around the politics of.
That's the key word. They're blocking you and Trump. I don't know what's going on here.
Well, I'm an equal.
I think it's a blonde hair thing. I think
it is. Blue eyes. I just look like a bad guy.
There you go. Yeah, but those algorithms and everything. That's why social media is not as social as it should be, and this is why people are looking for alternatives. Don't worry. We're gonna hook you up with something here that you're gonna be able to tell your show. And you know what? You know how you can't have your comedy shows live? You're gonna be able to have your comedy shows virtually, right here on Vero. So if we're gonna hook that up. We're gonna hook you up with that so you can get it done, because the world needs more Stevie D.
Well, thank you, brother. The world needs more laughter.
Yeah. Too much seriousness. Like this year has been a beatdown. For a lot of people, and to have that levity and get lost and have some sort of, I'm not going to say normalcy, but just something that makes you forget that, hey, you're in a bad year, So you need something to help you to forget that and kind of say, hey, you know what? It's going to be okay. You are the it's going to be okay guy. That's who you are.
I'm just here to spread an inappropriate joke and make people laugh. And like I said, I joke about cancer. I'll joke about anything, not mean-spirited, but I just like to, have fun with life. Every day we can't take it for granted. Not even our health. Like you're a super healthy guy. I know that. I try to stay healthy, but you can't take life for granted. So, enjoy the ride.
Yeah, you got to, man. You got to. So do you have a website or something you want to? Any closing thoughts before we close out the show?
Sure, brother. They can find me at steviedrocks.com. Stevie D Rocks on Instagram. I'm always posting nonsense on there. And I think it's Stevie D or Stevie Dupin on Facebook. But if they go on Facebook, Stevie D and his so-called friends, you'll see a lot of my comedy friends. We put a lot of posts from the shows, the live shows. Content is still there. Good. So, jump on for a laugh. And next book is hopefully coming out soon.
Sweet. All right. You stay with me, brother, and I appreciate you. Appreciate you coming on the show. Hang on with me.
You, buddy.
And, for the listeners and viewers of the show, make sure you follow Stevie D. Follow his antics. Follow his shows. Follow what he's doing. He has a lot of great things going on. And we're going to be back with you with another great guest on the next episode of the UCW Radio Show. So I thank you for joining us, and make sure you stay tuned.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Initiating shutdown sequence.
You're listening to UCW Radio. In your face.
What is your major malfunction?
So let it be written. So let it be done.
Ladies and gentlemen, my mother thanks you, my father thanks you, my sister thanks you, and I thank you.